When you hear the words that a day has been chosen, that a date has been marked, something inside you shifts. It is no longer just a random number in the calendar. It becomes a reminder that time is not infinite, that life as we know it is not endless. We live as though tomorrow is promised, as though next year is guaranteed. We plan vacations, we dream of what we will buy, what we will achieve, where we will go in 5 years, 10 years. But what if I told you that this illusion of endless time is the greatest trap you will ever fall into? What if the truth is that every single breath you are taking right now is not guaranteed to repeat itself? You see, most people live in sleep. They wake up, they eat, they work, they scroll through their phones, they go to bed. And this cycle repeats day after day, like a wheel turning without purpose. They are alive, but they are not awake. They exist, but they do not live. They count days, but they do not make the days count. And then one day, a voice speaks, a whisper echoes, a sign appears. Be aware, the time is near. When God points to a date, when he says, this is the day, it is not meant to paralyze you with fear. It is meant to awaken you. Awareness is the greatest gift, but also the hardest challenge, because awareness demands responsibility. When you are aware, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer say, I didn't know. Awareness forces you to act, to choose, to live deliberately. Think about it. If you truly knew that the 27th of August 2025 was the day when everything changes, would you continue living the same way you do today? Would you continue wasting time on things that do not matter? Would you continue holding grudges that poison your soul? Would you continue scrolling aimlessly, gossiping, comparing, complaining? Or would you begin to live with fire in your heart? Would you speak to those you love and tell them how much they mean to you? Would you forgive those who hurt you because carrying anger no longer serves you? Would you wake up every morning and feel the miracle of being alive in your bones? This is what awareness does. It shakes you awake from the sleep of ignorance and reminds you that you are a soul in a temporary body, and your time here is sacred. But the tragedy of life is that we need reminders like this to truly wake up. We need a shock. We need a message that says, this is your last chance. Because otherwise we drift. We drift through the days like leaves on a river, going wherever the current takes us, never asking where it leads. Awareness is the moment you stop drifting and start swimming. Awareness is when you realize that life is not something happening to you. Life is something you are shaping every moment with your thoughts, your words, your actions. And the truth is, most of us do not live, we survive. We survive routines, we survive obligations. We survive the opinions of others. We survive the pressure of fitting in, of being liked, of proving something to the world. But tell me, when the 27th of August arrives, will any of that matter? Will the opinions of strangers matter? Will the designer clothes matter? Will the status, the likes, the validation matter? No. What will matter is the state of your heart, the purity of your soul, the love you gave, the faith you held on to when fear surrounded you. So awareness is not about knowing a date. It is about understanding the weight of every moment leading to that date. Awareness means that every breath is precious because it could be your last. That does not mean living in fear. It means living with intensity, living with gratitude, living with purpose. Imagine holding a delicate crystal glass in your hand. If you know it can shatter at any moment, how do you hold it? Carefully, mindfully, with attention. Life is that glass. Most of us toss it around carelessly, thinking it will never break. Awareness is realizing that it is fragile, and that makes it beautiful. You treat it with reverence. You stop wasting it on arguments, on negativity, on things that drain your energy. You start pouring it into things that matter: love, truth, service, faith. When God shows a date, it is not a punishment, it is a wake-up call. It is His way of saying, wake up, my child. Stop sleeping through your blessings. Stop acting as if eternity is promised to you here. Because eternity is real, but not here. Here, time is fleeting, and every second is a test. Awareness is not about panic, it is about perspective. When you are aware, you see through illusions. You see that the money you are chasing will not follow you. You see that the house you are building will not be your home forever. You see that the grudges you hold are chains around your ankles, preventing you from rising when the time comes. So, awareness asks you to let go of what does not matter and hold tightly to what does. And what truly matters: love matters, faith matters, gratitude matters, character matters. Everything else is dust in the wind. Think about your own life right now. Think about the things that keep you awake at night. The things that stress you, anger you, consume your thoughts. Are they eternal? Or are they temporary illusions that will vanish the moment your soul leaves this body? If they are temporary, then why are you giving them eternal power over your peace? Awareness gives you the ability to choose differently. It gives you the courage to walk away from what is meaningless and to walk towards what is meaningful. It gives you the clarity to stop asking, "What do I want from life?" and to start asking, "What does life want from me? What does God expect from me in this short time I have?" The rapture is not about fear, it is about alignment. It is about aligning your life with your highest purpose, so that when the day comes, whether it is the 27th of August or any other day, you are ready. Not because you hid in terror, but because you lived in truth. Awareness means living each day as if it were both your first and your last. It means looking at the sunrise and realizing you may never see another one, so you savor it with your whole being. It means listening to the laughter of someone you love and storing it in your heart like treasure, because tomorrow is not promised. Awareness turns ordinary moments into sacred experiences. It transforms your morning coffee into a meditation. It turns your conversation with a stranger into an act of kindness. It makes you notice the things you once ignored. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the beating of your heart, the simple fact that you can breathe. But awareness is also uncomfortable, because when you are truly aware, you realize how much time you have wasted. You realize how many opportunities you ignored, how many words of love you kept locked in your throat, how many grudges you fed instead of starving them. Awareness brings regret, but only to those who resist change. If you embrace awareness, regret becomes transformation. You cannot change the past, but you can redeem it by how you live now. You can forgive yourself for yesterday by living fully today. The question is, will you? Will you take this awareness and use it? Or will you push it aside and say, "I have time"? That is the greatest lie we tell ourselves, that we have time. Time is not yours. Time is borrowed. Every second you live is a gift from the one who gave you breath, and he can take it back in an instant. That is why awareness is not optional, it is essential. Awareness is the difference between existing and living, between drifting and directing, between fear and faith. So, when you hear that the 27th of August 2025 has been marked as a day of rapture, do not waste energy on fear. Waste no time on arguments or doubts. Use that energy to awaken your soul. Use that time to live deliberately, to love abundantly, to forgive quickly. Live in such a way that if the day comes and the trumpet sounds, you can smile and say, "I am ready." Because readiness is not built in a day, it is built in the days before the day. Awareness is the first step to readiness. Awareness is the foundation of faith. Awareness is the whisper of God saying, "Do not sleep through this life. Wake up, my child. The time is near." This is what awareness truly means, to wake up. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Because now is all you have. When you hear the word rapture, when you hear that a day has been marked by the divine, your first thought might be about rising, about being taken to a higher state, about being lifted beyond this earthly existence. But how can you rise if your soul is heavy? How can you ascend if you are bound by chains that you forged with your own hands? This is the reality of life. The more we cling, the more we sink. And yet, we cling to everything. We cling to possessions, to relationships, to titles, to achievements, to identities that are as temporary as footprints on sand. We cling because we believe these things make us who we are. But the truth is the opposite. These things hide who we truly are. Detachment is not about losing everything. It is about losing the illusion that everything is yours. Nothing belongs to you. Not the house you live in. Not the money in your bank. Not the body you wear. All of it is borrowed, and one day you will return it. When you realize this, something inside you shifts. The grip loosens. The chains begin to break. You start to breathe in a way you have never breathed before. Because freedom is not about having everything. It is about needing nothing. Imagine you are carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. At first you feel strong. You tell yourself, I can handle this. But as the journey continues, every step becomes heavier, slower, more painful. Now imagine someone tells you, at the top of the mountain, a helicopter will lift you to the skies, but only if you drop the backpack. Would you drop it? Of course you would. But in life, we do the opposite. We hear about ascension, about spiritual awakening, about eternity, and we say, yes, I want that. But then we cling to the backpack of attachments and refuse to let go. We keep filling it with grudges, with pride, with anger, with fear, with possessions, with desires. And then we wonder why we feel heavy, why we feel stuck, why we cannot rise when the time comes. The rapture is not about escape, it is about transformation. It is about rising above the limitations of the lower self. And to rise, you must release. Detachment is the art of letting go. Not because what you hold is evil, but because what you hold is temporary. When you cling to the temporary, you suffer when it is taken away. When you love without attachment, you love purely. Because your love is not a chain, it is a gift. When you live without attachment, you live freely. Because your happiness is not chained to circumstances. It flows from within. But letting go is hard. We have been trained to hold on. From the day we are born, we are told, this is yours, that is mine, hold on. Don't lose, protect, fight for what you have. And so, our hands are always clenched. Our hearts are always clenched. But tell me, can a clenched fist receive a blessing? No, only an open hand can. Detachment is opening your hands so that you can receive what is meant for you and release what is not. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It does not make you love less, it makes you love better. Because when you are detached, you no longer love out of fear. You no longer love because you need. You love because you choose. Think about the relationships in your life. How many of them are chains instead of wings? How many of them are based on possession instead of freedom? When you say, this person is mine, you have already planted the seed of suffering. Because what is truly yours cannot be lost, and what can be lost was never truly yours. Detachment is the wisdom of the soul saying, I will love you, but I will not cling to you. I will enjoy this moment, but I will not imprison it. I will walk this path with you, but if you must go another way, I will not collapse. That is strength. That is freedom. That is the state of a soul ready to rise when the call comes. And what about things? The endless hunger for more money, more success, more recognition. It is a thirst that can never be quenched because it is the wrong thirst. You are trying to fill a spiritual void with material water, and it will never satisfy you. Every time you think, when I get this, I will be happy, you are lying to yourself, because when you get it, you will want more. The wanting never ends until you end it. Detachment ends it. Detachment says, I will work, I will achieve, I will build, but I will not let these things own me. I will not let them define me. I will not let them control my peace. Because when you die, and you will, none of these things will come with you. The only thing that will follow you is the state of your soul. And if your soul is tangled in attachments, how will it rise? Letting go does not mean abandoning life. It does not mean sitting in a cave with nothing. It means living in the world without being owned by the world. It means using things without being used by them. It means enjoying beauty without becoming addicted to it. It means loving people without trying to control them. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the highest form of love, because it is love without chains. And then there are the attachments you cannot see. The invisible weights of anger, resentment, jealousy, pride. These are heavier than any gold you could carry. They poison your mind, they darken your heart, they block the light of your soul. Forgiveness is the greatest act of detachment. When you forgive, you are not saying what they did was right. You are saying, I will no longer drink this poison. I will no longer carry this weight. And when you release it, you rise. Humility is another form of detachment. When you drop the need to always be right, to always win, to always dominate, you become light. Ego is a chain, and every chain you break makes you freer to ascend. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of? Who are you holding on to that you need to release? What grudges, what fears, what identities are you still clinging to? And then ask, are they worth your soul? Are they worth missing the call when the trumpet sounds? Because that day will come. Maybe it is 27th August 2025. Maybe it is sooner, maybe later. But it will come. And when it does, you will not rise because of what you held on to. You will rise because of what you let go of. Every day until then is a chance to practice detachment. Start small. Let go of the little things that annoy you. Let go of the need to reply to every insult. Let go of the urge to prove yourself to everyone. Let go of the toxic habits that keep you stuck. Let go of one thing at a time, and you will feel lighter. And when you feel lighter, you will realize something. Heaven is not just a place. It is a state. And you can taste it now, if you are willing to release the weight of what does not matter. Because in the end, the only thing you truly own is your soul. Everything else is temporary. And when the day of rapture comes, the question will not be, what did you collect? But, what did you become? Preparation. It is a word that many misunderstand. When they hear that a date has been spoken by God, when they hear that something as great as the rapture is near, fear enters their heart. They panic. They think preparation means hiding, storing food, locking doors, running from the world. But that is not preparation. That is fear disguised as action. True preparation is not about escaping. It is about embracing. It is about becoming so deeply aligned with truth that no storm can shake you, no darkness can blind you, and no trumpet can find you unready. When you prepare for something inevitable, you do not do it in haste, and you do not do it in terror. You do it with awareness, with discipline, with grace. And yet, most people are unprepared not because they lack time, but because they waste time. They think, I will start tomorrow. I will pray tomorrow. I will forgive tomorrow. I will live better tomorrow. But what if tomorrow never comes? The truth is, preparation begins the moment you hear the call. The moment you feel the whisper in your soul saying, wake up. That is the moment you start. But how do you prepare for something as immense as the rapture? How do you prepare for a day when everything you know will change? The answer is simple, yet difficult. You prepare by living every day as if it matters. Because it does. Every word you speak is a seed. Every thought you allow to live in your mind is a seed. Every action you take is a seed. And one day, the harvest will come. Do not be surprised by the fruits you find if you ignored the seeds you planted. Preparation is planting now what you want to harvest later. If you want peace on that day, sow peace now. If you want light on that day, sow light now. If you want to rise on that day, let go of everything that makes you heavy now. Do you see the tree outside your window? It stands tall, unshaken by the storm. not because the storm never came, but because it prepared long before the storm arrived. It sent its roots deep into the earth while the skies were still clear. That is what preparation means. You do not wait for the storm to start growing roots. You do it now, when the sun still shines. Because when the sky darkens, it will be too late. The roots you plant today will hold you tomorrow. The discipline you build now will sustain you later. The faith you cultivate now will carry you when fear surrounds you. Preparation is not dramatic. It is quiet, consistent, and intentional. It happens in the choices no one sees. It happens when you choose forgiveness over revenge, when you choose gratitude over complaint, when you choose prayer over worry. Every choice is a brick, and every brick builds the foundation of your soul. And when the trumpet sounds, that foundation will either hold or crumble. Do not build it on sand. Build it on rock, the rock of faith, the rock of discipline, the rock of integrity. But many people confuse fear with readiness. They think that preparing for rapture means running from life, isolating themselves, hoarding possessions, or living in paranoia. That is not readiness, that is bondage. Fear chains you. Faith frees you. Preparation is an act of faith, not fear. When you prepare with faith, you do not stop living. You start living fully. You do not hide from the world. You shine brighter in it. You do not obsess over the date. You focus on your state. Because the day will come whether you panic or not. The question is not when it comes, but who you are when it comes. So what does true preparation look like? It looks like a heart that is pure. It looks like a mind that is calm. It looks like a soul that is free from the grip of ego, resentment, greed, and fear. It looks like someone who walks through life with gratitude in their heart, service in their hands, and faith in their steps. That is preparation. And it does not happen overnight. It happens in the little moments. The ones you think do not matter. The way you speak to someone in anger. The way you respond when life disappoints you. The way you act when no one is watching. These moments matter. They shape your soul. Preparation also means understanding that life is a test. Every challenge you face is not an obstacle. It is training. When someone hurts you, it is training your heart to forgive. When life feels unfair, it is training your faith to trust. When you lose something precious, it is training you to detach. Every trial is a gym for the soul, and those who understand this use pain as a ladder, not as a pit. They do not ask, "Why me?" They ask, "What is this teaching me? How is this shaping me for what is to come?" That is the mindset of someone preparing for eternity. But most of us fail this test because we see life as permanent. We get attached to things that will one day turn to dust. We fight for status, for recognition, for wealth, as if these things will matter when we stand before God. They will not. The car you drive will not matter. The size of your house will not matter. The applause of people will not matter. What will matter is, did you live with love? Did you walk with humility? Did you stand firm in truth? Did you fulfill the purpose for which you were sent? That is what preparation is about. Not comfort, not luxury, not image, but character. And let me tell you, this preparation is not passive. It is not sitting and waiting for the day to come. It is active. It is movement. It is growth. If you are the same person today as you were last year, you are not preparing. If your heart has not become softer, if your mind has not become wiser, if your soul has not become freer, you are not preparing. Preparation is progress. It is constant transformation. It is shedding the old self and becoming new every day. Because the self that clings to anger, pride, and fear cannot rise, it must die so that your true self can live. So, when you hear 27th August 2025, do not tremble, do not panic. Do not waste time arguing about whether it is true or false. Use it as fuel. Use it as motivation. Let it ignite something inside you. Let it push you to live differently, not because you fear death, but because you love life. Live in such a way that if the date comes and the world changes, you are ready. not because you predicted it, but because you prepared for it. And if the date passes and nothing happens, you are still ready. Because every day you lived was a day of truth. That is what preparation really means, to live every day as if it is your last, but to work as if you will live forever. If you start today, you will not need to fear any day, because the soul that is prepared does not fear endings. It embraces them as beginnings. That is the power of preparation. It does not remove the storm, but it makes you unshaken in the storm. It does not remove the uncertainty, but it gives you peace in the uncertainty. It does not remove death, but it teaches you how to truly live before death. And one day, when the trumpet sounds and the skies open, you will not tremble. You will smile. You will rise, not because you ran from life, but because you lived it well. Not because you hoarded possessions, but because you built a soul of light. Not because you guessed